Hey, what's up guys? It's your artist friend Chris Dyer with another episode of Chris Dyer's Creative Friends. This week I'm going to be interviewing my friend Monke, who's an old artist friend of mine. We've known each other for at least 15 years. He's very interesting and spiritual and soulful. He's a legendary muralist and painter here in Montreal and around the world pretty much. And today he's having a solo show here in the old port of Montreal. So we're gonna do the interview here, so it should be really interesting. Woo!
While the world is burning, got to make amends. Walk on the sunny side with a positive lens. Talks about passion between the women and the men. Chris Dyer and his creative friends. Darling,
Hey, what's up, Monke?
How are you doing, my brother? You good?
Woo,
So
yeah,
good to see
great. You too. Always
Yep.
in such beautiful style.
You too. I love the patterns and the colors.
You know, keeping it simple with Peruvian. What is this style? Is it like African?
Yeah,
Like-
exactly. Basically, I have two designers that I gave them the responsibility to kind of brand me. So I choose with them the textile and the shape, and all the measurement are made for me.
Right.
And all the pieces are unique pieces. So one of these designers is Semanda. He's doing more like the African textile. And I have Tondo, which are doing what they call Afro post-apocalyptic samurai.
Ah, sick,
So I kind of
dude.
mix those two together. I love those two designers, so I combine them to create a unique style.
Apocalyptic chic.
Exactly. Shout out to Germ.
What country would of Africa?
This
would
is
be?
Ugandan. These are two Ugandan designers, which is also the theme of some of my painting collection here today.
Beautiful.
It was my 7th tour in Uganda, and I chose to stay there for the lockdown when the lockdown started.
Wow. Damn.
So I signed a deal with national television in Uganda for a whole year of promotion for my music and everything. So when the lockdown arrived, I decided to stay and to finish my deal with them. So during that time, I've produced a series of photos called Vie Confinée. And the oil painting are actually reproduction of the pictures that I took in Uganda. So I would say my heart is in Uganda. I love Uganda. For a long time, I've been exchanging with Mexico and with Latin America. But for the past 6 years, I had the blessing to be welcome in East Africa and have amazing opportunities and projects. So
Nice. Well, I want to dive deeper into the whole African mission,
Yep.
but let's start with right here, right now.
Yes.
Like, where are we? What is this about?
Okay, we are at a gallery called L'Original in Old Port Montreal. What happened is that we had the opportunity together to collaborate with Divina Dali, which is the exhibition of Salvador Dali about Dante's Inferno.
Okay.
So Dali did 101 illustration to depict the Dante's Inferno.
My mom loves that book.
Yeah, so and I love Dali and I love the book, so that was an amazing opportunity.
Where is it?
For me,
The exhibition?
It's in the Old Port.
It's in like a
It's
museum?
at the Quai, Museum of the Quai.
Okay.
Museum du Quai.
The K?
Quai.
That's the name
No,
of
like a quai, like a.
Ah, okay, quai
a
museum.
Quai, a quai, like for the boat in French, un quai.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
a port, I guess.
So not the Special K Museum.
No, exactly, exactly. And basically they asked me to do a performance, a unique art performance, live painting, poetry concert yesterday.
Okay.
And kind of in exchange, so yesterday it was a Salvador Dali featuring Monke event, and they passed us 3 original pieces of Salvador Dali for my solo show.
Beautiful.
So today it's the opening of my solo show called Le Temps qui coule at l'Original. And we have 3 pieces of Salvador Dali, which
That's
is in
sick.
itself surreal, completely surreal.
Right.
And is also like a child dream come true. Dali is the artist I've been following for the longest, and he mentored me without knowing my mentality, my approach. I would say a lot of my key to success come from understanding how Dali branded and presented himself. His art piece were only secondary to his soul and to his own personality. And I think with all of the medium I do, the poetry, the rap, the painting, the calligraphy, the body paintings, all of these things, I think they're all homogeneous and all related to me, to my soul, which is the most important part of all of these other branches, is how I'm feeling, how I'm doing, what I'm thinking about, and what I'm going through. So for that, I'm really grateful for Dali, and grateful for Divina Dali and for L'Original for being able to kind of book and produce that event in collaboration with myself.
So
I
cool,
feel
man.
It's a consecration and a baptism, a professional baptism into a new standard of production. So
New level.
blessed.
Congratulations,
Thank
man.
you,
I'm so
brother.
proud of
Thank
you.
I am also. I feel really proud and fortunate somehow. Yeah.
So tell me a little about the performance last night. You were live painting and spitting some rap and...
Yeah, basically, what I did is that I went through everything I could find of Salvador Dali interviews on YouTube and all of these things, and we start sampling parts of the interview quotes that I felt were powerful, you know, and that could stand alone without being in the rest of the interview, right? Quotes that spoke for themselves of a clear idea of Salvador Dali. We had maybe something like 30, 40 different quotes that I asked my DJ, Mark the Magnanimous, to place at different timing during the show, because I was improvising my poetry based on Dali's quote. There was also a 2-hour live painting. But during my performance, to me, it was important to place a statement. A lot of people are actively putting their opinion out there concerning the vaccine passport, the vaccination, wearing the mask. A lot of people around the world, artists, are boycotting events that force to have the vaccine pass. A lot of other artists have no choice but to do them because we have to make money, we have to pay rent and feed our children. So I choose to remain faithful to what I think and what I believe. So I accepted the gig, even if it was a vaccine passport, but I had to do civil disobedience during that gig. I always have to express myself regarding these issues. We're gonna look back in time and we're gonna see who did what, just like it happened in Nazi times and in Pinochet time. And there's people that are blindly following. There's people that see the bigger picture, that want to slow down the process of where we're going through. And I would say, in my own, I want to be doing creative civil disobedience.
Right.
I don't believe in destruction. I don't believe in fighting fire with fire. To me, it's all about creativity, positivity, unifying people, not dividing people. So yesterday, during my show, I have one of my lines that says, because in fact, Dali's clock are a proof of time melting. And the show stopped, we started some classical music, and then I started expressing how matter and the material world will fade out, but what we put out in the world spiritually, our decision, our relation to others, will remain forever. Like it's intemporary.
Standing for what we believe in.
Exactly, is
our principles.
Is so important. So I didn't announce that to anyone. I kind of briefly gave a glimpse to the museum caretaker that I was gonna do a civil disobedience and a stunt, that I wanted him to trust me, that it's not gonna disrespect people or be illegal in for the COVID protocols and all of that, but I needed to have a message being sent. And the message is beyond just COVID. It's about like human relation. It's about like we're living in a time where there's the biggest drought in the world, the biggest human migration in the world, the biggest industrial and technological revolution right now. So things are moving.
Transfer of wealth.
Yeah, all of this. Human are in pain. Human are
losing
suffering.
Their rights.
You know, so all of these things, I think it's important to be vocal and to do our part to prevent the evilness to kind of monopolize our lives, you know.
Right.
So humanity is so important. So to me, it was a message of compassion towards everyone and towards humanity going through a transition right now. So I went outside of the museum, and it's all big windows. So I went out with a white spray paint, and I wrote ensemble, which is together, outside, to be read from outside. So my idea was like we were a creative bubble inside, but I wanted to tell the world outside of that bubble that I am with them, you know, that I'm together with them, you know. So And it was blessed. It was well received. I was a bit scared to be arrested at one point, and I was scared that I would burn my bridges.
Right,
you know,
and sold to the museum that invited you to perform
Exactly.
and lend you that lead.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
ballsy, dude.
Yeah, it was, but at the same time, it was calculated. I didn't choose like a hardcore spray paint material. I used a chalk spray paint, so easier to wash. And the funniest thing is that I didn't plan that in my planning, but when I came back inside after I painted their window, I was so hype and filled with adrenaline. I was in trance that in my mind, I was like the most devoted thing right now. And it was also a way to kind of avoid burning my bridges. I came right back inside and I started destroying the live painting that I did just an hour before, right? And the speech that I gave is that it is important for me to be able to sacrifice the material to be able to pursue a spiritual objective. But if I'm able to destroy someone else's property, I need to be able to invest my own property for the same cause. So that's why even if I destroyed their windows for a small amount of time, then I also destroyed mine to kind of show humility and togetherness. For have the word togetherness even more powerful by sacrificing the piece that I really dearly loved. And later on today, I'm going to go see if I can kind of rearrange it or repaint over or reuse some of that destruction as part of the final piece. But I felt good. I felt happy that these people kind of understood what I was going through. They didn't boycott me. I even received a message from them today that they supported me. The whole team was supportive and that everything was cleaned already and that we're ready to move on to the next phase, you know. So to me, it was an accomplishment. I would say the whole scenario, the whole script, the whole evening yesterday was build towards that peak moment that I was really stressful about, and it worked. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. I
Thank you.
really appreciate it as from one artist to another. I wouldn't even call myself an activist, but like, you know, for somebody who cares and wants to see change in a crazy time, I really thank you and appreciate you putting your shit on the line to say what you believe in, because not enough people are doing that these days. It's like everybody just wants to keep safe and they're, you know, like we're all in sensitive momentum. Like any of us could just go down and go bankrupt when we least expect it. So it's like making that risk, it's the most dangerous time ever. So I double appreciate that you're like, you know, like getting to the pinnacle of your career and you could throw it all down by going against Babylon and saying like, this shit ain't nothing if we're not really doing it from the heart and
100%.
making the world a better place with it. This is not for the ego. This is not for me to be like Mr. Cool Artist guy. You know, this is for me to be empowered to continue being a servant of the Most High and humanity.
And to all be honest, once you know self and you understand the key to your own success, my own success was based on giving to other, being generous. Every time I was ripped and abused, God, the universe rebalanced everything and brought me bigger opportunities, you know? So to me, it's not even, it is altruist and the idea that I'm doing it for the common good and for all of us, but I'm also doing it for myself. I know as artists, this is the best, this is our duty, this is the best position we can play. The artist that goes down in history and mark a time and a moment are those who take risks. And all my life I took risks, and now that my career is growing, I would be stupid to change my formula.
Right.
My formula is to obtain success by being generous and by taking risks. So I keep on taking risks, and I think that's the formula to keep me growing. Even if cops came and arrested me, I had a camera crew there, it would have just blow up bigger into something that
It's
we're
all
all
worth it.
winning. By taking a stance, we are all winning. Even if we are losing some privileges, I do believe that's what I'm understanding from the consciousness that is rising these days. We talk about white privilege and male privilege. Well, I have many privilege. I'm a white male. I had a lot of problem making money for a long time. Now I'm making good amounts of money. I have a little bit of security. And like you said, a lot of people would actually become more comfortable and try to keep that little comfort they got. Me, it's the other way around. That comfort give me leniency to take more risk and to continue explore the limits of what I should be and become and say and exchange with people. So
Right. It's intense time. So it's time see who we really are and where we stand, and are we standing by our principles? Are we going to keep it safe? I resonate because, as you may know or not, I'm leaving town next week, and I don't know when I'll be back in Montreal. And I was so comfortable in my apartment, in my neighborhood, in my career, and I'm going to go out there and be like a refugee looking for a home now, and it's so weird. But I'm not going to be pushed and abused by Babylon to do something I don't want to do. And
and it's gonna bloom into something amazing. You are an amazing artist, you are an amazing human being. So if your heart is telling you to go that route, I'm telling you, treasures and blessings and abundance are gonna follow you.
Thanks,
that's how
man.
I lived my life. That's how I understood the mathematic of this world to be. If you risk and you love and you take your leap of faith, then universe grabs you by in their hand and move you towards a better place. So I'm quite sure you're gonna have beautiful adventures on your
Thanks,
trip,
man.
my brother.
So let's take it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you know how long we know each other, man? Like, you're one of the first artists that that I met when I started making a career. Do you remember?
I think I remember the first gig we did. It was Enfant du Soleil, Enfant Soleil,
Enfant Soleil,
Enfant Soleil.
2004.
Wow, I was gonna say 12 years ago. It's actually like 17 years ago.
Yeah.
I think we have 2 more collabos after that one. I think.
Yeah.
So 3 paintings. Every time was a blessing. And since day one, like I think we grew into sculpting our personality and growing in the throne, the kingly throne that. But I think it was already visible in our ways. I think you could see people sometimes by their charisma, by their idea, by their initiatives that they're gonna go far. So
Totally.
So from the beginning, I kind of knew that you have a journey in front of you that will be blessed. So I'm happy that I've witnessed it.
Likewise. That was actually my first mural when we painted on Enfant Soleil. They gave us a big wall. It was on TV.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I've never painted a big mural. I don't know how to use spray paint. I think we couldn't use spray paint because it's indoors.
Also,
So we're
it was
doing
all
big
brushes.
and I was just trying to go big. And I remember taking pictures being like, holy shit, I'm on TV. And I think it was like Quebec City.
Yeah, exactly. It was out of town.
And then the second collab was Fanny Aisha, just a little street mural for something in Rosemont. And the third one was the DJ school mural we made, and that was
beautiful.
super community, good vibes.
It was amazing.
So
Can't wait for the 4th one.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Maybe something
Let's see where
somewhere
it will happen
else.
also. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I know when I'm going back to Montreal. So since when have you been being an artist? When did this mural start? Do you have a roots in graffiti?
Yep.
Like, tell me a little bit about your roots.
I would say I've always been an artist. I would say my first language is actually visual art because as a child we hold pen, we choose colors before even using words, right? So I see myself as someone who has as a first language visual art. And then I just never stopped. My mom was super creative. My dad was more like the philosophy and ethics and principles. So I got all of that rigidity and that mental structure from my father, but all the fluidity, the changing things into gold, the artistic alchemy really come from my mother's side. And my parents adopted a young orphan from Haiti when I was 6 years old. She was 1. We grew up together, and early on I could see racism and the difference of treatment that my sister was receiving. So a lot of so-called white people think racism doesn't exist because they don't experience it in their daily life, right? It's not necessarily they're bad people. It's just in their experience. Obama was president. Racism doesn't exist anymore, right? They don't have physical proof that it exists. But me, from an early age, I could see my sister being fucked with in school, being laughed at, being always bullied. So early on, there was this compassion and this desire for social change that came on. And then I discovered the punk movement when I was 12, 13, doing skateboard and all these things. But really what captivated me is when I discovered hip-hop, because my painting skills, my drawing skills, my poetry that I was already doing, and my social desire for change were all welcome, and they found a roof for themselves in the hip-hop culture. So I would say I've been painting murals since then. When I was 14 years old.
What year is this?
14, it was 96. Yeah. So 96,
Spray paint?
97, yep, spray painting.
So was it graffiti or characters or?
I was already doing both. I chose the name Monk at first. Monk E was after, the E was added after, but I chose Monk because there was an O in Monk. So the O, I kind of always replaced it by a portrait a lot of times. So I could go out and do both at the same time. I was painting train, I was painting under bridges. My agenda was filled with it. And then that's it. I was living in Drummondville, small town, an hour and a half from Montreal.
Okay.
And I was hitchhiking to come get my caps at Cell Block in Montreal and meeting people and all of this. So at 16 years old, I moved to Longueuil just to be closer to where it was happening. And then I grew up, I continued to grow in my art by choosing my mentors, by collaborating with people like you, with Sino, with other older brother and people, pairs that were my age. And it grew to be what it is now. Now I come from graffiti, but I do a lot of brushwork, a lot of calligraphy, and I try to explore. I feel we reap what we sow, but it's important to know how you harvest from a tree. You know, you need to have many branches to your tree to be able to harvest all the time. Certain season, certain branches will be hit stronger, they'll give more fruits. Some other season, there's a new electrical line that will pass through and they need to cut one of your branches. You know, that's how a tree grows. So my career is the same thing. Maybe one day body painting will become illegal and spray paint, you can't find them because it's too toxic. Or so you have to have many branches to be able to constantly be able to harvest.
Right.
So from early on, I was attracted to hip hop and graffiti, but I bridged out of it looking into contemporary art and other styles of music to kind of add on to what I was already producing in the hip hop culture.
So when you were do you still do graffiti? Like do you ever stop doing illegal art? Do you still do a little bit? Like I guess last night was a little bit of that, but was there like a moment where you say like, oh, I gotta like chill out on the illegal bombing the streets because now I'm getting paid to do these big murals and such?
The idea is that I've never been much into bombing. I would say I was deep into bombing maybe the 3-4 first year of my life. After that, from just tagging the streets and all of this, it quickly became, I still want to do illegal, but I want to do like pieces. I want to do things that are still working for my portfolio, right? So I started painting more trains and more illegal, like under bridges and things like that. So it was still illegal. And to this day, I still do illegal. To me, it's part of the same plan of creative civil disobedience. It's the same thing. It's to shock people, to show people that sometimes there's things that are illegal that are not immoral.
Right.
And to me, this is the fine line that I always searched for. You know, to be able to leave a place and consciously be able to say, I've enhanced that place, you know. It was illegal, but it's better than it was.
Right,
you
totally.
know? So to me, it's more like the approach that I have. So I don't do much bombing anymore. I don't really, but it's still important to have civil disobedience as a strong part of my message and my practice.
Right. And you're part of a graffiti crew, K6A, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Tell me a little about it.
We created that collective early 2000, like 2001. And we were 4 graffiti writers, Saif, Sirac, Ostiwan, and myself. And that's it. We wanted to link up and create that new crew. And because I was rapping, it grew into something multidisciplinary. We had like rappers that got included in the crew. We got filmmakers. We got food chef. We have like a...
it's like a crew.
It is a crew,
Yeah,
and now
like...
we're close to 35 members now.
Oh, wow.
And it's been almost 20 years. It's been 20 years actually. So we keep growing apart, but still kind of unified through that bigger idea of the crew. Obviously, when you're younger in your 20s, to be part of something is so important, to claim it with others, to have kind of a family. But after that, once you have real children and real family, well, this often take more like a secondary priority in your life. So I would say we're still growing into that. We're still proud of the collective, but everyone is doing their own thing. Sometimes we do cross path and collaborate together, but there's new alliances made, there's new crew made, there's new projects.
Right.
So we keep on moving.
I know you're not like a fighter, you're a lover, but in Montreal it seems like, you know, graffiti artists and muralists and, you know, different crews seem to have fights and beefs. Does your crew have issues with anybody else?
Yeah. There is actually, really no. We don't have issues with no one, but there's some people that have issues with us. You know? So I think it's more the situation. And me, I always preach for peace. So me, you cross my shit, I go repair my stuff, and I know the universe. The reason why I have Dali in my solo show right now is because I answer peace to violence. It's because in my life I do all of these alchemy energetically. Then universe is dropping jewels on my table. That's really how I walk through this life. So to me, being attacked is not something new. I've been attacked all my life. I've been different all my life. I've been laughed at all my life. I've been marginalized all my life. But you know what? It only takes a time because they can't break what I am. So after 2-3 years of laughing of me, well, they become my favorite fans because they start seeing the strength that I have to be different than them. And then instead of being like a marginalized, a bullied person, I become an inspiration and a mentor of being yourself. And a lot of people that will insult you or be jealous or being uncomfortable in front of difference are those that do not have the courage to be themselves, you know? So I don't take it as a big, they say like copy is the closest thing to
flattery.
Or
the best.
Well, I say being crossed out is also part of flattery because it means that I'm moving things, that I'm shaking things.
Right.
And I never answer with violence. You can go cross my shit, I'll go repair it. And
it's too bad. Like that's one of the things that like bugs me about the Montreal street art scene, graffiti scene. It's like there's murals, there's graffiti. I wish they could all live together instead of like going over each other. I've even heard from a friend that there's like extortion, you know, graffiti artists that tell muralists like, give me money or I'll fuck up all your murals. Like that's terrible. How could one artist do that to another one?
Well, that's the thing too. Like, are they artists? A lot of these people are more, how would I call them? Like villains. You know, like in the Batman needs his Joker, right? Batman needs his Penguin, right? Some people want to be villains. Some people are anarchists. Like they see structure, they see systems, and they attack it. And now, I would say muralism is probably the biggest contemporary visual art movement in the last two decades, you know? So obviously a lot of people will see that as being institutionalized or being too famous. The moment you start having fame, you're gonna have people that are gonna attack that fame. And I would say in the world is the same thing. If you have a population of a certain fish that is growing too much in a lake, well, its predator or its parasites will also grow to reestablish balance. So maybe now there's too much murals in the city, and that's why our parasites are growing with it also, you know? So
I hope they don't take any offense on these words.
no, but to me it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm a parasite to certain things, you know? Like, to me it's not about like, it's not themselves being parasite. I think it's more like to attach, that's what a parasite is. You attach your energy to another entity to gain nutrients from that attachment, you know? And I would say it's some form of parasites. A lot of people cross me just for the fame of crossing me and getting some nutriments from my fame.
Because they know people will take picture of that mural and at the bottom there will be their name.
That too, but there's also people that love destruction that will praise that youth for destroying someone with a status, you know? So to me, it is a form, this is a form of cultural parasites, but at the same time, parasites are in life. You need to have things that move. You need to have microbes to resurrect what is dead and all of these things. So
plus they start like the graffiti scene kind of like started everything with muralism and street art too. Like they're the roots.
Yeah, it is the roots, but from the beginning, the roots was not, we were not eating each other in that thing. We were all together against a more institutionalized thing, you know? And
now we're attacking each other.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, it's not like, when I say parasite, it's not like, it's not synonymous to enemy, you know? Like, we have to understand semantic on what I mean on that. But as far as the biology of thing, you know, there's something that is created. And you know what? I would even reverse that thing, because we can also read the situation the reverse. maybe muralism is the Parasites to graffiti, because at first we were painting the walls and the city said, well, now because there is graffiti everywhere, we're gonna replace them by murals. But before graffiti was everywhere, mural was not even a thing. People didn't care about muralism. So muralism took really its first big roots of popularity into the attempt of erasing the civil disobedience of graffiti. So I think it's a circle. So
it's a symbiotic relationship where like graffiti was like the fresh soil of creation, but I guess like the system just wanted to make it more, palatable for the whole population.
Yeah, 100%. I do enjoy civil disobedience. I do enjoy illegal graffiti. I do enjoy bombing. I do enjoy hand styles. I just prefer it when it's done into some blank property, into some public spaces, more than when it has the intention of ruining something. But that's just me. There's enough diversity for everyone to have fun in that culture. Yeah. My whole idea is just that I don't fight back. My way of fighting back is to keep myself clean karmically, but also on the wall. I'll repair my wall. I'll do whatever it needs. I'll humble myself in front of criticism, but
it's the lesson of impermanence too.
The detachment, and that's why I chose the word monk at first. I saw a Buddhist monk doing mandalas with sand, exactly. And the moment they finish, the same day they have an overview with their sensei, and they actually destroy everything. And when I saw that, it made me think of graffiti. So the work and the fight for detachment is not something that is gonna end at one point. All your life you're gonna have to fight to detach yourself from life. Even you're gonna have to learn on the last minute. You're gonna be like, hey, life, I enjoyed you, but now I'm passing to a different state.
Eventually we all die.
Exactly.
So we gotta be like comfortable with that.
Exactly.
For sure. So tell me more about your studio work. So that's the work on the streets with spray paint, but in your studio work you also use spray paint, but what other mediums?
Yes, I've just started. I've been kind of intimidated with oil painting for a while. All my life, I kind of admire people that were painting with it. And I saw myself when I was gonna be old. I was seeing myself when I'll be old, I'll be doing oil painting. Well, I guess I'm old now with a white and a beard.
What's your age?
I'm 39 now.
Okay, nice.
And I started doing oil painting this year. So a lot of the canvases that are here are my first ever oil painting.
Oh wow!
So like
they look great, man.
I have maybe 20 oil painting here, but they are my 21st oil painting. And I would say I don't do much studio work. The reason why I did a lot of painting recently on canvas is because of COVID. I was coming back from the lockdown in Uganda, and I spent the first winter in Canada for the past 12 years. That was my first winter, so I had time in studio to paint. So that was the change. But really, I'm not much of a studio, like visual art studio. I'm more into a musical studio. So I paint outside when it's sunny, and I make music when it's not. It's more the relation that I have with the sun and the rain and the snow. But
how has it been to do something unusual like being in the studio and working with oils?
I would say it brings you back to the detachment of your pride, detachment of the techniques. You have to start over. There's a newness that comes with it, to learn a new medium. There's the innocence and the vibration of newness and the adrenaline of survival, because the ego has this beautiful tool that makes us want to give a good impression, makes us want to keep a certain standard of presentation. That's all the ego that is scared of being a lesser version than what it was in the past, So I do believe that's a beautiful part of the ego, is that it's force you to have a certain standard, and when you're not reaching those standards, adrenaline and survival instinct kick in, and then you open the subconscious and there's new things that are being revealed. So I would say that's what happened with oil painting. I was stressed, nervous, amateur with it, and then it shaped me into being proud of myself and reaching new goals and new levels. So I would say that's the process. And I would say relate to you leaving soon. The moment you do a leap of faith and you're like, okay, I've been stressed or intimidated for a certain while about this vision, but even acknowledging this stress, I'm jumping full-fledged into that vision. Well, fireworks and explosion and everything comes with it after. So that's kind of what I'm celebrating now. It was kind of like a stressful decades to get to the point that I dare dip my brush into oil paint. But now I'm here, and now I would say I'm a good oil painter. So let's continue to grow and to learn.
Good job, man. And I appreciate the time, especially on the day of your opening.
Well, I appreciate your time, especially on the day just before leaving and all of this. I think it's marking a certain time. I know you are a magnetizing human being. You have a lot of people that care about you. So for you to care about me, I feel it's a blessing. I feel somewhat honored that you actually care to show my mind state and my art through your network. So
of course. Well, this is what this show is all about. It's like, you know, as an artist, we focus a lot on ourselves. Like, look at my art, look at my this, da 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 da. And you know, when COVID hit and it's like, oh, I want to make the world a better place, and I'm only one person, but I know a fucking army of positive artists out there, and you're well known, but a lot of my other artist friends are not that well known. It's like, true. I want the world to see these people too. And then when I film or talk with somebody who is known, it's like, look at this fucking Jedi fucking warrior doing his thing and in his own battlefields in his own way. And it's fucking inspiring to me and to anybody who wants to see it. And people need this positive inspiration in the world. Like,
I do believe courage is contagious. I do believe it's one person standing up, it will help 3-4 others stand up, and those 3-4 will help others stand up. And I would say you are one of those strands. I'm quite sure you're giving strength to your community, and that's why your community, I do believe that's the role and the duty of a king. A king is not someone that is supposed to be there for the glory. It's someone that is supposed to be able to provide for his people, and by providing, the people give him glory. Right. But to me, it's not the reverse. It's not I want the glory and then I'll provide for you guys. It's like I have to provide. If there's something missing, I have to provide. And naturally, life will place me on my righteous throne at the right moment. And I see you doing the same thing. So I'm happy that our kingdom are neighboring each other.
Yeah, totally. Respect. G, acknowledge G, and we enforce each other in the same mission of going back to the light ourselves, but helping anyone else who wants to go back to the light and get out of this age of darkness that's brought too much suffering for too long. So let's talk a little bit about your music.
Let's go.
When did it start? What's the different shapes it's had?
I would say music took, just like I did with the branches of my visual art, I started doing spoken word poetry. I started producing. Everything is self-funded and self-produced. It's important to know also almost all the high-level standard music in Quebec survive through grants. So people, they ask for grants and then they have the little stamp of Canada and Quebec on their projects, and that's how music can actually thrive and survive in Quebec. Me, I chose a different route. All the money that I'm making with the painting is reinvested in the music, so my music is completely sovereign and doesn't have to give back any receipt to no one. It's my ideas, my projects and everything. Obviously, I'm well surrounded because I don't musically produce. I economically and logistically produce, but the idea, I make sure that certain composer come and compose with me the music to which I will lay my rhymes and my verses after. I have 19 album produced or co-produced. Out already. I have the 20th and the 21st that are also done, not published yet. I made a full album in Cuba called Incubation. I have an album in Peru called Peru Bravo with some reggae band there.
Sick.
I have an album called Amérirythme, which was a group built by Cirque du Soleil. It's French, English, and Spanish. I have an album called Tour de France that was recorded with 13 featuring in France while touring France. I have an album called Suffering with the Smile On that was produced and recorded in Uganda with a dancehall artist. And I have 9 solo albums. I would say I don't sing. Really, my skills is more in the pen game and the writing. So me, I always rap, but the foundation on what I lay my verses, I've changed through times. I've obviously done the primo boom bap aspect at first. Then I went into a J Dilla kind of a more experimental hip-hop soulful thing. Then I went into pew pew music, which is which is, I would say, a Montreal version of electronic experimental hip-hop. I did trap music. I did spoken word. I did Latin music with Cirque du Soleil. So I've been exploring a lot of different aesthetic as far as sound, but me, myself, I rap over these beats.
And sometimes it's French, English, and Spanish?
Yeah, I would say it's 70% French, but it's French, English, and Spanish. Now that I'm producing a lot of album like outside of Canada, I try to have more and more English into it. But I would say there's something that here in Montreal, we kind of always criticized, and it's the people that are second language rapper. For us in Montreal, because a lot of people are Asian, they speak Creole, a lot of people are Québécois but speak English. If you are Québécois and your language is French and you choose to rap in English, we will often hear a little accent that is a proof that it's not your first language, and that will often be laughed at, you know? It's important, and I think there's a good side to it, and it's the idea that you need to be proud of yourself and you have to be proud of your roots and your first language. But there's a side that is a bit sad, that you're putting clear borders in between the way people should and can communicate themselves.
And who can hear it too.
And who can hear it too. So that's why it took me a long time to be comfortable with my accent in Spanish and in English. But at one point, for example, in Uganda, my English accent is not as strong as theirs, for example, right? Their accent is even more geographically revealing of where they're at, while I have a little bit more Canadian general accent. So I was like, hey, people rap in English there in Uganda, I can rap in English. I have enough vocabulary, enough understanding of multisyllabism and all of these things. So I'm kind of now in the process to accept to have art pieces that are not in French, but usually English and Spanish are languages that are attached to a core French expression.
Well, in this long career of music and even painting, I'm sure you've had many subject matters and topics. I don't know if I want you to like list them all, but is there some kind of like general thread, or what you're talking about these days at least?
I would say my aesthetic always been hip hop, but my content kind of always been closer to reggae music.
Okay.
So it's a lot about one of the things that I enjoy, love, and admire about reggae music is that they are open prayer. It's one of the only musical genre that is actually globalized, you know, because you could have gospel music, but it's really a niche for Christian people that listen to gospel music more. While reggae, you could have atheists, you could have like Muslims, you could have anyone from any type of spiritual approach, and they could enjoy and find joy and celebration in listening to reggae music. Reggae music, to me, it's an open prayer to their creator, you know? So I would say my music, by being highly spiritual, has a lot of similarities with reggae music as far as the purpose, the mission, and the content.
Right.
But it's always more into a hip-hop aesthetic.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's a great combination. I love reggae and hip-hop. Well, it seems like reggae is very like centered around Rastafarianism, but Rastafarianism can be viewed as a religion, or it can just be as a style of life of one love and of a vibration of, you know, just being high and connected to God, whatever way you see it.
100%.
And some people might observe reggae as just for the black people, but many also say like, no, it's not about race, it's about the oneness once again, and that it's one world, unity.
So. Well, there's three main line of Rastafarism. There's the 12 tribes, there's the Bobo Shanti, and there's the Nyabingi, and they all have a different approach to it, but there's something really Zen and really almost Buddhist about the Rasta approach. I feel it's kind of some sort of a mystique hybrid between Christianity and Buddhism. There's something really more with the ital and the lifestyle and the consideration for earth and
naturality.
Others and
the
naturality.
Dreadlocks is like
and I do practice the Nazarene Rights, which is also the rights that the Rastas are practicing.
What is the Nazarene
The Nazarene Rights, like Jesus of Nazareth. A lot of people will say, "Oh, you look like Jesus," just because a lot of Hebrews are practicing the Nazarene Rights. Those that are the monks, those that are the spiritual part of the culture, they will not cut the beard and they will not cut the hair, because it's the relation to the past. It's the relation to the anti-establishment also. Because nowadays, especially if you go to the army or you get a 9 to 5 in a job, they will ask you to shave. They will ask you to be clean cut, you know? So the Nazarene Rite is the choice to not cut your beard and not cut your hair. I don't do dreadlocks. I don't grow dreadlocks. I don't think it's my place to do so. And it's not my place to decide who is place to do so. But me and my own spirituality, I relate to the spirituality and the conceptuality of it by keeping the idea of leaving the dead cell still be attached to me, not necessarily in an aesthetic form as the dreads or not or
Right.
this, but to me it's more inside the idea that I'm not cutting my bridge with what happened and what I used to be, you know? So I'm still that same person that is growing just like my hair and my beard.
Right. I've taken the, like, not the opposite path, but like I've changed because I was growing dreadlocks for 21 years.
Wow.
And I had a lot of dead cells and energy right there on my dome. And then at the beginning of this year, because of my spiritual ceremonies with ayahuasca, that had asked me many times, like, fuck your image, fuck your, you know, being cool or looking young, cut that shit off just so you can jump in the water and be unknown once again, you know, like just be just you. And it was a process.
It
I'm
is.
still getting used to it, but
it is, and it's also part of the Nazarene Rite, I would say. Like, when you realize, let's say, I don't know, you go through a divorce or something happened in your life and you have to, or I don't know, you were unfaithful or something happened that you're not proud of it, then you will cut yourself from that part of yourself and you will ask for redemption through that idea of shaving or starting over or
like a clean slate.
Yeah, exactly, like a clean slate, you know? So, and all of it is just, these are concepts. The idea is not to have doctrines, it's to have different tools and elements to be able to manifest yourself on earth. Some things will speak to you more than others, and some things are made to be flipped around, some things are made to be personalized and remixed, you know? The idea is that we're not one mold and we all fit that same box. These are different boxes for us to be able to find who we are and manifest it through these concepts, you know?
Beautiful. How long have you been following this? Is it a spiritual path, a religion? What do you call
No,
it?
it's not a religion. I studied a lot. I've discovered myself to be an Israelite, a Hebrew Israelite. It was in 2008. I was doing a lot of genealogical, like family research, and try to, because being Québécois is a new identity. Quebec has 400 years, so like my DNA has centuries, you know. So what was I before Québécois? You know, I'm a citizen of the stars, you know. My bloodline been flowing this earth for millennium, you know. So to be Québécois, to me it's cool, but it's a modern identity, you know. So I was really searching from where I come from, and I discovered I come from the Basque people, which are really which is a sovereign autochthone, like indigenous people of Europe, and then I found my roots towards Hebrew Israelite, so it gave even more strength to my spirituality. But to me, like, Hebrew Israelite is not the same thing as being Jews necessarily. Jews is Judaism, is the structured structured part of the Hebrews, you know. But I don't have a denomination. I don't necessarily believe in religion either. I don't believe in the borders and the divisions that there is in between religions either. I've learned from Buddhism, I've learned from Judaism, I've learned from Christianity, I've learned from Islam, I've learned from Rastafarism, I've learned from Hinduism, I've learned from atheists that believe in science. I've learned from all of these different things, and I respect all of that diversity. I identify as a Hebrew Israelite, but I don't practice a religion, even if I am religiously producing art pieces all over the earth.
Art's your religion. Creation.
Yeah, and I would say no, I don't necessarily believe in religion in general. I use religiously as a way to emphasize my obsession for creation and creating, but even my art is not structured with doctrines and amendments and things like that.
Beautiful. Well, from what you tell me from your art and your music, it's clear you've traveled the world to many places. I'd like to know how many countries you've been to, and tell me a little about the projects you've had. I think you mentioned Cuba and Peru and Africa, of course. Tell me a little bit about different projects you've done around.
Well,
you can choose.
Yeah, I started traveling. The first time I had the chance and the fortune to leave Quebec, I was 19 years old, and I was chosen to represent Canada for the Muralism Festival of Sao Paulo in Brazil. Mm-hmm. And that was the last time I had a job. I quit my job from then, and I've never worked in a 9-to-5 after that.
Beautiful.
And then my second trip was with Cirque du Soleil. I went to do a series of concerts in Australia. Mm-hmm. And then after that, my first album came out. And then I start traveling in France to try to search for a record deal, and all of these things. Thus far, I have 16 tours in France.
Wow.
I have 18 tours in Mexico.
Crazy.
I have 7 tours in Uganda. In total, I have 71 international tours. And my idea is not to accumulate necessarily new countries. My idea is once I've bonded with a country, then we feed each other. We feed each other.
You found your community, so you want to keep on giving them some love.
And, yeah. So I would say this is more. So I've seen like 28 countries. I've produced in 28 countries, but that was part of 71 international tours. So if I wanted, I could have chose a different country every time. But to me, the community I was building in Mexico, I would say France, Mexico, and Uganda are my 3 biggest pool of magnetism, of collaboration and everything, outside of Montreal, which is definitely my home and residence. So
right.
But yeah, I enjoy traveling. I have had the chance to do amazing project with Walt Disney, with Heineken, with Chevrolet, with different government around the world. I painted the building of the Ministry of Culture in Gabon, in Libreville. I've painted the National Theatre in Uganda. I've painted the Fine Art University in Kampala in Uganda also. I've been blessed with many things that are surreal, and I never had a website. I never knocked on any door. My only way to promote myself is by producing, and the work itself do its little journey and lives on its own, and then certain things come back to me after. I'm supposed to leave again soon. I'm like you, I'm in a little dilemma on how I'll be able to do all of these international travels, but I'm supposed to leave for Guinea, Senegal, and Cameroon, Tanzania, Uganda, and Rwanda. So my all winter is supposed to be in East and West Africa, leaving at the end of November.
How can you do that without, the vax and stuff?
Well, it's everything is in the law and in the wording, right? We have to know our constitutional right. We have to know our human rights. The movement around the world is a right. We have the right to move. The thing is that.
But they might not let you get on the airplane starting next Saturday, and that's why I'm ducking out so.
Yeah, that's the problem. But one of the things that I'm gonna push for though is that everywhere they're really precise on how they communicate the law, right? They're saying we're gonna need a vaccine passport for all unessential travel. So how do you communicate yourself will define where you place yourself in the law. Can you communicate how essential your travel is? Right. Do you even have paperwork of invitation that could bring weight to you showing how essential your trip is? You know, they don't have the right to separate family. So are you going to meet family? So all of these things are to be studied. And once you go against the normal protocol and you put yourself in marge, there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of things to show proof for. But if you do, you get empowered with that new status. You know how you could now slalom that big fear picture, you know?
Right.
And I can't speak as someone who succeeded in that precise aspect. But there's other aspect of law that I've already won with, you know?
Okay.
Like municipal fines, or even when I went to court, I was able to find in the law a way to be non-guilty. So there's a way, and the trick is that Babylon is using the Leviathan. Leviathan is portrayed as a sea monster or as a big monster, but the metaphor is that the Leviathan is a bureaucracy that is so big that you get tired of dealing with it and you abandon. So right now, that's what they're putting in front of us. If I go against it and I say I have the right to travel without my vaccine, then I will have all of these paperwork and all of these things to fill. But legally, you still can't travel. They can't, and they know it. Just a simple example. I don't want to, hopefully nothing backlash to me, but we go for it. I was speaking with an employee at SAQ, right? Because they are a governmentally organized business. And I told them, you know, like it's illegal to discriminate medically on who can come or not in your business, right? They said, yeah, we know that.
To buy liquor.
Yeah, to buy liquor. So I said, so how do you deal with someone that doesn't want to wear the mask? They said, well, we were sued a couple of times, many times, so now we can't say no to this person. We have a protocol where they come in, we ask them to stay in the corner at the entrance, and we give one of the employee as his assistant to go do his errands for him, so he doesn't move around in the stores, but he is allowed to come in and he is allowed to buy.
Okay.
So, but in the news, they will never tell you this. They will never show you that side that they say no one can come in, and then with a fine print, unless you are a human being. Right? So like you have all of these big things against you, but then they just want to scare you. That's why they put in the media everywhere. Trudeau said no one can travel. Trudeau said no one can travel. Trudeau said, so everyone thinks that's the truth. Okay. But if you really go through the process of it, there's a way as a human being to make sure your rights are protected, because these people know that will cost so much for them if they are sued for something illegal. So they're walking that edge of respecting the demand, the illegal demand from the government, and then not infringing on human rights, you know? So that fine line, it's a chess game, and that's the chess game I'm ready to play to be able to continue to travel.
Wow. You're inspiring me, because like I could really use an extra month. I gotta pack all my shit. I gotta potentially sell my apartment. Right now I'm at 0, and 1 week is nothing.
It is.
And I'm like, fuck, I could really use this extra month. But like I'm afraid, as you say, they scared me with these titles of like, you can't fly in 1 week. And I'm like, oh shit, I don't want to get trapped in this country, you know, because I didn't duck out like while I still could. Yeah. But then I could maybe like give myself another month like you. Yeah. Tell me how it goes.
I will, and we'll see. But I would say I've been on the forefront of pushing these things a lot. Like I've been to court 13 times now to have my statue as a sovereign human being on the land, you know. And it's a process, and it's an ambitious claim, and it's filled with naivety and filled with many things, but one thing that is filled of is courage and good intentions. I'm doing this to test and to push, because I refuse to be docile in front of all of this. And I think the name of the game is the law. They will scare you with police, but once you get into court, judge will tell you what the police did is illegal, right? But they don't care. They just put different layers of blockage in front of you, so you don't see the truth. So the truth is hard to find, and this is why collectively, by exchanging, we could have a bigger impression of where the truth lies, you know? So we'll keep ourselves posted, and I could also refer you to interesting lawyers online and groups that are claiming and different ways to manage these things.
If you have a good lawyer, put him in touch with me already, because I want to see if I can buy myself that extra month to exit my country without such a rush, stress, and do it properly. Like this whole thing of me flying out and then hiring people to pack my things and sell my apartment is it's not good, you know. So if a professional, I'm not smart enough to like go and investigate the law. It's just so not my style. But if you know a professional, I'll pay them to like help me.
The thing that is hard is that a lot of these professionals are bound by their order of lawyers, right? So they can only reveal so much if they don't want to get excluded from from their order, you know. So yeah, but there's some people that are courageous out there. There's even people that are lawyers that came together to claim that all of this is a crime against humanity.
Right.
So now all of the people that are fact checker and that erased things that were actually true, they're now being put into that list of complicit to human crimes, you know? So me, it's not like one lawyer in specific, but it's different groups that they do have, like, for example, there's even Christian groups in the States now that they have an affidavit, a template of an affidavit on how in the law and in the Bible being able to prove that vaccination is against your spirituality and your conscience, which is the first amendment of the Constitution of Canada. Respect of consciousness. And the respect of consciousness is defined as the capacity to make a choice between bad and good.
Right.
So if you understand something is bad for you and you have a claim in the law or in yourself, or then you have to write papers, you have to put it on paper. Me personally, I'm writing an affidavit with all of the explanation of my mind through the law. So I could pass you that affidavit, I could pass you how people are filling these affidavit. I have no proof of because what happened is once the rebellion, or once the counterattack, or once we found a way and a loophole, often the loophole will be kind of remixed into having other obstacles in that loophole. So a lot of these techniques, you go through it, but the enemy is somewhere else with it, you know. So you have to they kind of have one step.
Keep on jumping.
You have to. So we kind of always have to renew and change and be fluid with it. But I will be happy to send you the different reference and link, so you can make your own idea of yourself on how you want to approach that situation.
Because for me, it is a spiritual thing. I am of the belief that this vaccine is going to affect my consciousness, my DNA. It's going to put things in me that are not of benefit to my spiritual elevation and not that of humanity. And I don't want it, and I don't want to be forced in it and stuff. I find it like an unhealthy situation. So my next question to you is, there's a lot of things happening in the world, Monke. Is there like a general point of view of what's happening? Like, you know, like if you had to summarize what's happening right now from an overview, what's happening right now, man?
Well, me personally, I think it's the creator is forcing human to reveal their nature. So you have people that seek comfort and seek material things so much that they will allow to be contaminated, to be manipulated, to be incarcerated, to be all of these things. And we all have a free will. So I think the universe is telling us, who do you want to be? Do you want to be that one that is dependent on McDonald's, or you want to be that one who's learning how to make a garden out of your backyard, right? You want to be the one that is pressing the button to kill thousands of people in the Sahara Desert. By a button, it's more like a signature or whatever it is. But or are you going to be the one that is going to be a whistleblower to save these people, you know? So I think it's, to me, like the Judgment Day, it's not something outside of us. We are judging ourselves. Who are we? Are we the inventory of our nation? Are we clients of the pharmaceutical war going on? Or are we actually thinking, critical, philosophical human beings that fight for their existence and fight with generosity, virtues, humility, compassion? So I think it defines us. It will define who we are and where we place. Judgment Day is now. Every day is Judgment Day. Every day you have to judge yourself. You have to judge the decision you're going to take. So to me, it's just the continuity and the intensifying human selection of heart revealing. And that's the revelation. Our nature is being revealed. Are we selfish or are we selfless? So I think that's what's happening right now.
Beautiful. Thank you for your perspective. Would you have some final words of wisdom to the people who watch this show? Some
100%. 100% gratitude. The word is gratitude, 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 gratitude. I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to be breathing. I'm grateful to be a friend of yours. I'm grateful to have a camera and people caring enough to actually give their intention to these words. I'm grateful for the Salvador Dali show. I'm grateful for what's happening. And I think gratitude is the starting point of humanity. It's the starting point of compassion. It's the starting point of considering each other. And I consider you. I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much for using your magnetism, your power, your beauty into connecting our kingdom. So thank you so much, my brother.
Yeah, thank you, Monkey. Blessings.
Bless.
Yo, and thank you, the viewers, for watching another episode of Chris Dyer's Creative Friends. Please press like and comment and share and subscribe. And if you're on iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, etc., please give us some good reviews. All right, thank you so much. See you next
Thank
time.
you. Much love.
Blessings.
Next episode, my guest will be
Something that
Peru
my wife always
Dyer.
says to me that I'm very lucky to have found a purpose in life because so many people spend their whole life searching for it. So I don't take that lightly. So when I make art, I'm very conscious of this, and I try to, be mindful and respectful of each place that I get invited to paint. And try to honor that sacred bond and honor the community and do the best with each project, no matter who it's for or what it pays, because that's our legacy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice, beautiful.
So please make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Big thanks, and see you next episode. Peace.